Groove 3 I call the 7th walk, and it's the 3rd pattern we're going to do over the same initial rhythm track by Carl and Bernie. Now what we're doing here is we're adding the dominant 7th on all the chords to give it that signature bluesy, headed towards jazzy kind of sound. The other thing we're doing here is we're starting to really construct walking bass lines, whereas in the bass lines in the first 2 grooves had just been outlining chords, root 3rd 5th, root 3rd 5th 6th. Now we're actually adding chord tones and walking up and down the scales implied by each chord to connect the chords in a more seamlessly smooth pattern. So we're approaching walking, we're adding 7th, and let's get to it. Here, again, using the same rhythm track from Bernie and Carl, I'm going to sort of combine the grooves that we worked on in exercises 1 and 2, or grooves 1 and 2, to come up with a completely different feel and really approach a true walking bass line. So what we're going to do is we're going to, instead of just outlining the chords here, we're going to start walking up the chord tones, not using chromatics, just the tones in the chord scales themselves. To connect the dots to more easily approach the roots of the next chord. We're also going to be using some of the triplets, but we're going back to keeping a nice, big, fat, full groove to really lay it down and to accentuate the walking aspect of the lines. And then when we do put in the triplets, it really gives it a bounce, but we're not using it near as much as we did in Groove 2 to create more of a fuller groove. So you can see on the C, instead of initially just outlining the chord root 3rd 5th to get to the F, we're just going to walk right up the chord tones with the root, the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 5th. And now we have that 4th surrounded. So it's a pretty easy on the ear resolution to go to the 4 right there. We're also adding 7th chords this time. The first time we do it is when we beat on bar 4. When we're playing the C, we're going to add the B flat to start really getting that jazz and 7th chord sound in there. So let's walk through it again slowly, and remember what we're doing here is we're having nice, big, full notes, occasionally adding in the bounce triplet, doing more walking lines rather than just arpeggiating chords and adding that 7th. So again, the first bar we're playing a C, and we're walking up to the F. And then from our F, we're walking up to the C, back down to the C, outlining a 7th chord right there. The F, we're walking up to it and putting in that 7th, the E flat. Keeping this part pretty straight. Here's the 7th again. And we'll throw in a triple at the end just to know that the phrase is over. So this is really approaching a walking bass line.